Welcome to another episode of Fright Night Radio. Well, tonight we're going to be talking some awesomeness with director Lucio Fulci and his awesome films, Zombie. And I don't know about the rest of you, but that's going to be an awesome thing to talk about. Lucio Fulci. Yep. And you just cannot go wrong with Fulci. I mean, really, you can't. You know? And here's a little taste of Fulci. And before I do this, I want to welcome our crew, cast. Introduce yourselves. I'm Joshua Randall.
You go first, Ronnie.
Good evening. My name is Ronnie, the Wolfman Taylor.
And this is Zach Keane, the American Werewolf in London.
Yeah! All right, here is a song from one of the music for The Gates of Hell, also known as City of the Living Dead. Give it a play. Now, for you out there who don't know, the music, if this music's played backwards, it's actually the theme to Zombie, his 1979 film.
Pretty close.
Or pretty close, yeah. Well, tonight we're going to be talking Lucio Fulci. And he's got a lot of films, but we're focusing mainly on the thrillers and horror aspect of Fulci. And Zach, there are a lot of films that he's done. I mean, there's not a lot of horror films, but there's enough there, you know, that would make your skin crawl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, tickle your fancy. I almost vomited watching one of his films.
Well, the first major horror film that he did was Zombie, 1979.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, when the movie came out, they advertised in the trailer they would provide barf bags for the film.
And for those Italian film fans out there, it was released in Italy as Zombie 2.
Yes, because they were basically benefiting from Dawn of the Dead at the time, which in America it was called Dawn of the Dead, but in Europe it was Zombie, just Zombie in general. It wasn't Zombie 2 or anything; it was just Zombie. And so people would have gotten confused had they gone with like in Europe, I believe, or a lot of foreign over there in the foreign country, it was considered zombie flesh eaters. Was another name. And so that was fine, you know. But here in the States, it was actually just called Zombie. And as a child, this movie was one of the most scary movies I had ever seen as a child. I literally cringed every time I watched the movie. I had nightmares, literally. And I can thank Fulci for that. You ruined my childhood, you know?
But he shaped your adulthood now.
Yeah. If you watch a lot of the projects I've done, they have some Fulci elements in a lot of them, you know? But... Huh?
Wait, Ron, are you there with us?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe something had happened.
I just listening.
What was your favorite of all the Fulci films that he's had? Which one was your favorite? You have one in particular that just stood out from all the rest.
I'd say Zombie. That's the one I watched the most of. But I mean, like the first one I ever saw was House by the Cemetery. And then, but Zombie is the one I watched the most of. But of the other ones that I've heard of, I usually just listen to the music by Fabio Frizzi.
Yeah, Fabio Frizzi was awesome. I mean, his music alone would make the film. You know, you don't even have to have any dialogue and just have the music, and that was enough. You know what I mean?
Can't talk about Fulci without talking about Frizzi.
Yeah. And what's sad is, you know, Frizzy did most of the music for his horror films. You know, he did Zombie, he did City of the Living Dead, I believe. Yeah, he did that. And then he did The Beyond. And then after that, he didn't do House by the Cemetery. Somebody else did it, that one.
Yeah, that score was pretty good, though, but, I mean, it's not Frizzy.
Yeah. Well, the guy who did the score for City of the Living Dead was actually a really good score. It was close enough to Frizzy's level, in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, one film I want to mention right now, right off the bat, we can get it out of the way, was his worst film. Now, this film was partly directed by Fulci, and then Fulci basically abandoned the film and basically flat out said it's not his film, and it was called Zombie 3. And you can see some of his elements in the movie, but I agree it was pretty foul. You know what I mean? And
I'm trying. I can't. Whenever I see clips from that movie, I can't figure out which ones are Fulci's and which are Bruno Mattei's, because I can't tell the difference.
Well, the scene like with the refrigerator, you know, where the guy opens up the refrigerator, you got that zombie coming at him. That was Fulci.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
That was Fulci's, and you can tell what's Fulci, and to me, I can tell which is Fulci's and which isn't. You know what I mean? But I just thought Fulci just got a bad end of it. And apparently, he said he was sick during that time, but I know he got out of that project. He just did not want to be part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he did say he was quite ill. And if there's anything you can take out of that film, the photography and lighting is nice. It has a comic book feel about it.
Well, one film, you know, there was one benefit from that. After he left that project, he went and directed Demonia.
Ah.
Now, Demonia was a whole lot better. Now, I didn't agree with some of the I didn't like the fact it was about nuns being crucified. That part I didn't really like, but there's a scene in there that was, you'll never forget it, where a guy gets ripped in half, literally. Beside a rope, and they literally rip him in half. You see his intestines come out and everything. It's pretty, right there in the middle of the woods, and his little boy is watching the whole thing as he's splitting in half.
Was this before he made Cat in the Brain?
Probably around, I think it was before that, yes. It came out, he made it in 88 or 9, I believe.
Okay, yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, Cat in the Brain was 91, I think. If I'm wrong, someone will.
I've got a list here. I can, let me pull it up real quick and I'll show you. Okay, the movies he did, all right, I'm just naming the horror movies. He started with Zombie, then City of the Living Dead. The next one was The Black Cat, which that was a really good one. Then The Beyond. So really, in a way, you can say The Black Cat was part of the 7 Gateways to Hell.
You could say it, yeah.
In some ways. Then, see, 3 films came out from Fulci that same year. There was The Black Cat, The Beyond, and The House by the Cemetery. Came out the same year. Oh, I'm sorry. Those 3 films came out the same year. Then in 82, he came out with The New York Ripper, which was a kill fest, you know. Manhattan Baby, I've seen parts of it, but some of these movies I've not seen, unfortunately. Like Conquest. I've never seen Conquest, and that's not even a horror movie.
Yeah, that's his fantasy one, ain't it?
Mm-hmm. Then there was The Devil's Honey, which I don't really know what that one is. And then Argentina, or something like that. It came out in 87. Then Touch of Death, which I'm not sure what that one was either. There's a few that I've never seen. Then Zombie 3 came out the same year as Touch of Death. Oh, wow, I'm wrong. I was wrong. You know what came out after Zombie 3? The Sweet House of Horrors, which was a TV movie. He did that one. He also did The House of Clocks the same year. Then Cat in the Brain came out in 1990, and so did Demonia. They both came out the same year. He also did a small piece. He was part of, which they have it uncredited, was Hansel and Gretel. He did a Hansel and Gretel. And then he did a film called Voices from Beyond and Door to Silence. Now, he did another movie that you guys don't know, but he was a producer of the film, but he went under a different name, Louis Fuller, which he did the movie The Curse. Do you remember that one with Will Wheaton?
Yeah, that was a good movie.
That was a Fulci film. I don't know if y'all knew that or not, but he actually was the one pulling the strings in the movie.
Probably
It was
gonna
a
have to
good
see that
movie.
one.
If you see the scene where the mother's ripping the guy's stomach open in the
Yeah.
movie, that was Fulci right there. You know what I mean?
Oh, so he was
Yeah.
pulling a Dario Argento then.
Yeah, he was no Argentino. What's the guy's name you just said?
Argento.
Yeah,
Dario
he
Argento.
he was supposed to work on a movie with him called the Wax Mask. Was Fulci's
Oh, no. No, what I meant was I guess I got a little confused. I thought you said that in the movie the guy pulling the guts out was Fulci, but I got
That's
that
what
wrong.
I thought he said too. Yeah.
The guy
Because
that his stomach was ripped out by a woman in the movie, but you can tell that's a Fulci moment there because Fulci's hands was all in the film. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I'd gotten confused because when Dario Argento made a lot of his films, whenever you see someone wearing black gloves, that's Dario Argento.
I really wish they would have killed Will Wheaton in that movie now. Because Will Wheaton's an idiot. I really wish they killed him violently, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in real life, he's a disgusting person, you know?
Yeah, kill Wesley Crusher. Let him die.
Well, the thing is, he was on an episode I saw of, I can't remember what the TV show was, but he was talking nasty about the lady who played Torres in Voyager, talking about when have her pussy.
Was it a game
on
show?
TV. Yeah, he said he was going to grab her pussy on live TV.
Was it a game show?
Yeah.
It was the weakest link.
Yes. And they ended up cutting that scene, but I found it on YouTube one time. He was actually talking about grabbing her, whatever.
They also had him on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, I would have that.
She was ready to kill him.
I don't like Will Wheaton.
He's a pathetic. He's a has-been anyway. He hasn't been in anything in years.
Another one I don't like, but we're talking about horror. I'll talk about that one later.
Well, anyways, back to Fulci. I don't know. I'm sorry we got a little distracted. Was the fact that Fulci did so many amazing films, you know, and they labeled him the Godfather of gore, you know.
Wow.
You know.
I wonder if that was in like what's the word, like as honor towards H.G. Lewis, you know.
Possibly. My thing is, of all the films he's done, Zombie was the most violent, in my opinion, you know, as far as zombies go. But City of the Living Dead will probably be known as the grossest movie he ever made. Because you got a girl throwing up her intestines and her stomach sack. You know what I mean?
You want to be even more disgusted. They didn't have the makeup effects to actually make fake guts, so they bought sheep guts and had her cop those out.
Oh wow!
Real sheep guts covered in fake blood. Of course, they had a rubber head for when she coughs out like her colon or whatever that is. But yeah, they had a rubber head.
That was her stomach sack. It was like
Yeah, they had a rubber head, and then they had her actually spit out some real sheep intestines, and then she pulled the head out of the that director. The guy who she was making out with was a director who later went on to direct some stuff. I don't remember what his name is, though.
He actually did a zombie film himself, but I'm trying to remember.
Oh, didn't he make Dell'Amore Della Morte? Didn't he do that?
He did that film. You can see Fulci's tag right on that thing, even though Fulci had nothing to do with it. You can see it had some Fulci elements to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something here real quick. I'm gonna play it if I can find it. Man, I'll tell you what though, that was as gross as you can get. You know what I mean? All right, this is play a little sound of it from Shudder. Okay, hold on a minute. Here we go. You guys ready for this?
Yeah, go for it.
From what?
Well, everybody's talking about guts. Let's see. All right, here we go. Okay. Go open her intestines, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Then comes the big stomach sack.
And then
the guy gets his head ripped open and kills him.
Then our director friend, he's like,
you know, you just can't beat that. You know what I mean? You know, that would actually make a good a recreation you should do for a film.
I could actually, you know what? I remember
out
back
like
when
that.
I was in high school, I was actually trying to recreate something, not on camera though. I used watermelon pieces.
Well, just build you a fake head like you did with your werewolf thing. You know, build a fake head and then.
Yeah. Granted, I would need to get a lady to play that part, and I I don't know very many.
I'm not talking about the guts part. You could if you wanted, but I'm talking about just having the guy's back of his head ripped open. You know what I mean?
I tried to recreate that too. I made like a head out of a soda bottle or something back when I was in like 7th grade or something.
Man, I'll tell you what, that's what I use for a lot of my opening themes now for my films. It's that scene where a guy gets his head ripped open. I mean, it's like, I know, you know? It just, but that was a scene I will never forget. I mean, I had nightmares for weeks because of that.
Ran out the room.
Yeah. And, you know, you can find that movie easily on YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of that movie, like the ending, I remember the ending is weird. Like after they defeat the villain and they come out, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, they come out of this tomb, and this little kid starts running at, what's her name? Katarine McCall, whatever. And then all of a sudden, like the film breaks up in animation and then the film ends.
Yeah. And there's a lot to interpret it for that. I think it means that they failed to shut the gateway to hell. They failed to do it, and the dead still invade the earth anyways. You know what I mean? In some way or another.
I heard somewhere that the reason for that was because Fulci didn't like children.
I've never heard that, but I don't know. He had some weird ideas about films. You know what I mean?
He pulled a Dr. Seuss.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if he doesn't like children, why would he? You notice a lot of his films have children in them, like House by the Cemetery.
What's funny is that a lot of people say that the kids in his films are annoying, especially the one from House by the Cemetery.
I know he had a history of treating women badly. That I do know. I've heard plenty of stories about it, you know?
Yeah.
But some people have good recollections of him. Like the lady from the City of the Living Dead, she had no problem with Fulci. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was a pleasure to work with, you know? I guess it just depended on the woman, you know what I mean? If somebody intimidated him, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, he really wasn't a fan of the lady who played, you know, I forget her name right off the bat, but in Zombie, you know, the one who got her neck ripped out. He really had it for her.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
She must have pushed the wrong button on Fulci or something, because he tortured her ass. I mean, she said she'd never made another horror film again after that.
Did she?
Hold on. No, she didn't ever make another horror film, as far as I know. Hold on. Ronnie, let me ask you a question. Name your best Fulci film.
I don't know any Fulci films.
You don't know any Fulci films?
Never seen any of them. Except for the first.
Oh, yeah. Hold on a second. My deaf uncle is coming here asking questions.
Oh, and I got something I want to say. We have to wish Stephen King happy birthday.
I brought that up earlier. 70 years old today.
Yeah.
But anyways,
You're 70 years old today? Well then, happy birthday! Aha! Aha! Aha!
Well,
everybody sing happy birthday now.
We can't because we can't sing happy birthday because those two old ladies who own the rights to it will get all pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the thing is, you know, in real life, Stephen King's an asshole. You know, I mean, I found that out real quick. You know what I mean?
Or controversy.
I'm just being nice and wishing the old man a happy birthday.
Yeah, now he needs to float down there with Pennywise and take all his liberal
Happy
friends with him.
birthday, Mr. King.
Yeah, with a taco on the side. Would you like some cornholio with that too?
All work and no play make Jack a dull boy.
Wow.
You know, I wonder. You know, that was something. You mentioned Stephen King. I'm glad you mentioned that because some of the films, if you look like The Beyond, there were some shining moments in there in a way. You know, and they admitted that one of the actors on there said he was actually trying to do a Jack Nickel impersonation when he was trying to open up a door in one of the scenes in The Beyond.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Doesn't I don't know what his name is, but what scene exactly are you talking about? Like towards
David
the very
Warbeck.
end before they wind
You're
up?
talking about David Warbeck. They had done that scene. And,
yeah.
But if you look at some of his films, I guess I can see it. Like House by the Cemetery was kind of, I don't know. Zombie, on the other hand, you can't really compare that with any films. You know, it had nothing to do with Dawn of the Dead or anything like that. It was
actually written beforehand. I don't know what the original title was, but it was apparently written beforehand, and then the distributors, I guess, put the Zombie 2. Yeah.
Well, it was rated X, and you couldn't. It was very unusual. It wasn't even for the. They rated it for like 4 at the time, and so. Me personally, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, damn.
Well, I mean, in England, most horror films had what it was referred to as Certificate X, even back in the 60s, and harkening back to films like the Horrors of the Black Museum, which was from '64, which if you watch the trailers, considering this is a new trailer advertising an X certificate film, we regret we cannot show you the scene now as it appears in the picture.
Darn.
Can you imagine?
Well, my fun.
I would love for them to re-release these films in the theater. Some of the films, you know, like City.
I think they do. There's a place back in California that does that. I think I don't know if it's Zombie, but they apparently some place back in Costa Mesa. I did like a screening of Rocky or something.
I would love for them to raise the money to be able to release the entire film all nationwide and show them what a real horror film is. You know what I mean? City of the Living Dead would be a perfect candidate because, I mean, you can't go. Some of the scenes were like the girl throwing up her intestines was pretty realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you said, she had real guts in her mouth. I'm like, okay,
real guts.
I actually tried to recreate that scene myself using noodles. You remember those big lasagna noodles?
Is that what you use?
Yeah, with fake blood. It was like we tried doing that. And it just did not work out the way I had planned it. You know.
I made myself some guts out of latex and yarn, but they've been in my garage and the cockroaches in there, so I ain't gonna put them in my mouth. You know.
Ooh! Wow.
Well, like you said, you know, some of my film projects that I do have Fulci elements in it, you know. Like I had done a little project called The Last House, which was kind of paying homage to Fulci in a way. It was about an entity that was trying to kill this little boy in the film. And no matter where he tried, basically the character represented death, and you cannot escape it, you know. You can't escape death, you know. And when I did the project, it actually I was using a different type of grindhouse effect at the time, and it just made the film look really bad. I mean, I regret ever putting the grindhouse effect in there. If I could go back and change it, I would have. I mean, you can't do it now, but I did a couple of projects, you know, that were Fulci type, you know. But if I were to ever have a chance to do another Fulci type film, I would definitely like to kind of push it towards the City of the Living Dead in a way. You know what I mean?
Speaking of a Fulci-esque movie, I never got around to doing this, but I actually you and me were talking about once a little while ago, Tales of the Unnatural. One of the stories that I was going to do was about a soldier who was blinded in the war, and he moves into a new neighborhood, and he meets his new neighbor, and they become friends. Well, anyway, around this time, there's a homicidal maniac going around killing people, and he sneaks into the blind man's house and tries to kill him. The blind man is able to get away. He goes next door saying, neighbor, help me. But the neighbor isn't there. He's able to get into the guy's house, and he's going around. And he finds out that his neighbor is the murderer, and he's like, oh, crap. I need to see if I can escape without letting my neighbor know that I'm onto him. And I was going to have it be all Fulci-esque with like lighting and camera movements and things.
Well, if you look at the films that people make now, though, I mean, you just don't see good horror films anymore, period. I don't care what they, nothing they release these days make me scared, make me jump or get scared out of my wits. You know what I mean?
Nope.
Continue.
One thing I will say, there's been one movie series though that has made me turn my head a couple of times, and that was the Saw movies. They got so realistic, I had to turn my head on some of them.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it went beyond. I mean, they would have been perfect for a Fulci film. I'll tell you. If they would have made a Fulci film, they would have made a good one. You know what I mean? Realistic wise,
It probably would have actually been more gruesome if Fulci had done it, because I don't know what it is with filmmakers today, but for some strange reason they feel the need to slap like a single color over their entire film, like blue, green, bronze, gray, and it's like, what's the point? Is it to make the audience know that this is a gross, disgusting film without having the actors relay that it's gross already? What's the point?
About color.
Now, none of my films really have any blood in them, except for I have one or two that do. But I mean, well, not House by Cemetery, but my Haunting of Randall House has probably the most blood in it. You know what I mean? Besides Phantasm, but Phantasm has yellow blood.
Yeah.
And so it's completely different. You know what I mean? Compared to what we see now. A lot of movies are CGI, and I just think CGI has pretty much killed the horror franchise in some ways. You know what I mean? Because all they care, I would rather they go back to the days where you made things yourself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Old days, instead of all this CGI crap. I think it's a complete disgrace.
Oh, they definitely overdid it. I mean, like, I can understand it being utilized in some instances, like the long shots of the T-Rex in Jurassic Park. But then, of course, they built the full-size prop, and so it was a nice combination of the two. But same with the Mortal Kombat, the first film. They had Goro, which was a puppet, and then he had some CGI in it. But now they're just going all-out CGI. Very rarely actually getting anybody to actually make any full props. I mean, Piranha 3D did it, but I mean, that film ain't that great anyway.
Well, in 3D, it's actually pretty damn good. I mean, I've seen the movie in 3D, and it was pretty dang good. You know what I mean?
I mean, there was some good suspense in that movie, but the majority of it was just jump scares, and after a while, it's like, there's a jump scare coming. There's a jump scare coming. There it is. Okay.
Well, the one part that made me cringe is when the guy lost his package. You know what I mean? It's just floating.
Yeah, I know that was funny. That bit was funny. I saw it with some friends, and
my uncle loved it because he got the boobies coming out of the screen. It was like, well, there was a sequel called Double D, but we pretend that one don't exist. You know what I mean? With David Hasselhoff.
Oh my gosh, no, not David Hasselhoff, please.
Speaking of David Hasselhoff, he was in a few Italian films, like the 1979 Luigi Cozzi film Star Crash.
Wow.
Now, don't get me wrong. David Hasselhoff was a really good actor back in the day when that what was that car
Knight
show?
Rider.
Knight Rider. That was his best. And I'll give him.
He had to go do the horrible show Baywatch. Yeah.
Well,
watch Baywatch Nights.
But the thing is, people enjoyed it at the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Yeah, see that it's like back in the day, all the movies and all that was great, but nowadays it's like they
the
don't care.
1990s is for film, so let's just put it that way. There were only a few good ones throughout the 90s, you know?
Maybe the reason that so many horror films aren't that great anymore, it's because they're trying to they can't heighten, I guess, they can't lower the bar anymore. I mean, how far can you go?
Yeah.
I mean, don't lower the bar. Don't lower the bar, for goodness sakes. Don't lower the bar any more than it's already been lowered. We need to start raising the bar now. But I mean, like, maybe the reason horror films aren't so good anymore is because they show too much. Maybe we need to get back to where they only showed some and let your mind do all of the horrific scenes, because your mind can always come up with something worse.
Nightmare on Elm Street, even Jaws. I mean, give me more movies like that, people. You know.
Yeah, Halloween didn't have that much blood in it. Neither did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In fact, most of the killings are done off screen. You never see the chainsaw actually dig into anybody, save for Leatherface's leg towards the end. But the majority of the time, you don't see no blood. Not really.
Yeah.
Well, guys, how long we been on now? We've been on for half an hour.
It says 9:26 right now.
What time did we start the show? Was it 11 o'clock or 10:30?
Well, I mean,
I don't know. I got 8:26 here.
Yeah, I'm an hour ahead of you, Ronnie, and 2 hours behind you, Josh. So I think we started at 10, maybe.
Well, we better cut this to an end then, everybody. But do you have any final thoughts on both of you? I'll start with Ronnie. Do you have any final thoughts on Fulci?
I don't know. I've never seen any of his movies, so I can't really think of anything.
I'll have to send you the link to The Gates of Hell and Zombie then. You'll love it, Ronnie. It's a
Yeah, I guess I'm not too much of a Fulci nerd. I haven't seen any of his movies.
Well, the only one movie. But what do you think?
I was saying that if you want to see something that you've never experienced in an American film, go watch a Lucio Fulci film. And after you watch the Lucio Fulci film, you'll probably go graduate on to Dario Argento and Mario Bava and the guy who directed Della Morte dell'Amore, vice versa. And then you'll hear Fabio Frizzi and The Goblin and the Oliver Onions, and find out a whole new kind of horror that you've never experienced before, sticking strictly to Hollywood.
Well, that one director you were talking about, Argentino, I can't never pronounce his name. Argentino. He my favorite film from him was actually Demons.
I think that was Mario Bava. I don't know if Dario Argento.
He produced it or something, but it was that was one twisted movie. We'll have to talk about those films.
Yeah,
those you know?
Yep.
Him and Fulci didn't talk for years. I mean, they were enemies. And then finally, they were collaborating on a new movie called The Wax Mask at the time. And that was, while they were making the film, Fulci died, you know?
Yeah.
And you know what killed Fulci? A piece of cake.
Cake will kill you.
He was a diabetic, and he ate a piece of cake and died that night. The diabetic attack. Over a cake.
Listen to that.
We're all doing the same thing. We're all making noises.
Listen to that, kids. Too much sweets is not good for you.
Well, guys.
That's why you eat out twice a week, you know.
That's why you eat healthy food. Remember carrots and
brains and stomach sacks as well.
And bananas and oranges and apples.
Liver.
You kiddies out there better remember that stuff.
Eat your baby trees.
Well, I want to give a big thanks to everybody who has participated this evening. And
round of applause.
Episodes we've done. We'll probably show back to back this Saturday. So there'll be 2 episodes this weekend that'll be shown, which is kind of cool. I mean, that gives me and the crew enough time to pick out some more cool topics for the next couple of weeks, especially around Halloween. I have a really cool Halloween episode that's going to be coming on Halloween night. I think, depending on what day Halloween is on. Anybody know what day Halloween is going to be on this year?
I have a calendar right here. Let me see. Let me see.
I
what
think
we
a Friday.
have. Let me see here.
If it's on a Friday, then we'll have a special episode on a Friday night instead of Saturday.
I'm seeing Halloween on Tuesday.
Oh, well,
wow.
then we'll have a special episode on Tuesday then. A Tuesday night.
For Tuesday night.
And
Tuesday night
live
Fright.
video. I mean, we'll actually have our down and everything, so everybody can dress up that night, and we can talk. Actually, have physical talking. You know what I mean? Instead of just what we're doing now.
So we're gonna have it on picture then.
And everybody
A
can
Halloween costume contest. Hooray!
Ronnie, you can just play as yourself as a psychopath. You know, you never have to wear no makeup or anything.
Cool.
Have a knife, you know.
I'm trying to think
and
of
his
who you can
ball
play
dog.
with.
Perfect.
Have you seen Crime Wave, that Sam Raimi movie? There's like some dude in it who I don't know. Whatever. I don't know what his name.
Also, I made a little boo-boo. I've got to rechange the intro on this channel because I forgot. I've got to put your name on there, and I forgot how to spell your last name, and then I went and back on Facebook and got it. So I'll be redoing the intro video also for the channel. I mean, for the videos.
My last name. My last name.
Your last name and everything.
My last name.
Or we don't have to have last names. We just say our first name. So, you know, whatever you want to do.
We'll Zach, my last name. There you go.
Do what now?
Call him Zach, my last name.
We'll just go by first names. That'll probably be easier, and everybody can.
Or we could go by our YouTube channels. I don't know, like the Cinema Fanatic or whatever.
I just go by the first name. First names is so much easier, and then everybody can do the thing. But everybody, thank you for watching tonight.
More personal with first names.
If you have any suggestions of future episodes, write them down below in the comments below, and we'll look into those ideas. But it has to be horror films in general, or we can also do some sci-fi and thrillers as well. But
yeah, no Batman and Robin with George Clooney.
No romance movies. Period.
Maybe we should talk about Criminally Insane next time.
What?
Well, I really like.
Talk about me for? That's not nice.
I would really like
no.
the 1980s films first, and the 70s and 80s.
He's like, I'm insane, but I'm not criminally insane.
We're not talking about you. We're talking about Miss Priscilla Alden.
Oh,
all right, everybody. Till next time, we thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Fright Night Radio.
Same horror time, same horror channel.
I'm dead. Oh, yeah.